Welcome to the No Limits Podcast, where limits do not exist, where you can create cash flow, equity, and real freedom with the power of real estate.
3, 4. Now, we will begin.
Welcome to the dojo. The dojo.
The number one asset class you should be investing in and why I love it. Now, this episode is all about a net worth explosion. But before I jump in today's show, if you have not headed over to our website, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. I have the wholesaling map there for you. This is the massive action plan, and it's the blueprint that's going to get you from your first deal, or if you're trying to scale to 7 or 8 figures, no matter where you are on your journey, this is the exact blueprint that you need to get you there. So head on over to our website, nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. Also, if you've been listening to the show and have not shared it, please copy and paste the link to the show and text it to 3 or 4 of your real estate colleagues, friends, or partners, or anyone else who may need to hear it. Also, I see your reviews on iTunes. Please continue to leave them. Really, really appreciate the show growing, and it is thanks to you. So today I'm going to talk about an asset class that I absolutely love and that I invest in actively and passively, and that is mobile home parks. Now, this is not to be confused with mobile homes, right? The difference between mobile home parks and mobile homes is that mobile home parks is actually real estate. It is the land, it is the dirt that holds mobile homes. And as the landowner, I rent space, I rent the dirt, the pad, to somebody who owns the home, who puts it on our land. And so I love this for a couple of reasons. Number one is that the tenant on the property is actually a homeowner. So even though I own the land underneath it, they own the property. They're responsible for the maintenance, the repairs, the upkeep, the pride of ownership. And so it is a lot less work when you manage this properly. Now, there are some scenarios where you can own mobile homes and the mobile home parks, but that is not the topic of today's show, and that's not the way that I operate this business. By the way, on the end of this episode, I'm going to share a way that you and I could partner on some of these deals, so stay tuned until the end. Now, why do I love this asset class? Well, number one is that I do like commercial real estate, and mobile home parks are a lot less competitive than other commercial real estate asset classes out there, right? There's a stigma around mobile home parks that they're not nice and that they're just a complete zoo and that, there's just, not great people in these things. And I could tell you that there is nothing further from the truth when a park is run properly, right? And that this asset, because of that stigma, is less competitive than apartments and other commercial real estate asset classes, right? And by the way, these commercial assets, I'm telling you, they are going to explode your net worth. This podcast is all about generating cash, but let's build that net worth. Let's play the long game and the short game. And this is all about that long game. All right. Number two is that we are helping people. Mobile home parks, when managed properly, provide a clean and affordable place to live. This is a great alternative to apartments. You don't have people connected to you on the sides by a wall or up or down, right? You've got your own property, you got your own parking space, you got your own yard. And I'm telling you, these mobile homes today that people buy and put on your land, they've got granite countertops, they've got, the newest stainless steel appliances. I mean, it is absolutely crazy and amazing, right? Number three is that they are not building any more mobile home parks, at least on any kind of significance. Most local governments do not allow you to build mobile home parks. Everyone's going to talk about affordable housing and how they want to build more of this, but they just don't want them because of the stigma. And they don't bring in the kind of tax revenue that a stick-built house does or another type of commercial property. And because of that, the pressure of the local governments keeps the actual number of mobile home parks down. And so when you own an asset like this and you're providing clean and affordable assets or clean and affordable places to live, right, the space rent that you can charge will raise appropriately, right? You can raise rents appropriately so you can provide, again, clean and still affordable place to live. Number four, lower expense ratios. Because you own the land and you own some of the infrastructure like the sewer lines or some of the electric panels and things like that, but you don't own the properties, you are not responsible for the maintenance of the properties, which is a lot because you don't have to, number one, have someone to do repairs on staff, right, depending on the size of the park, and you don't have to worry about vacancy as much. Well, I'll talk about a little bit later in the show, but basically it's going to run you between 30 and 40% of the gross profit to run the parks. The next thing, number 5, is pride of ownership. Now, people who live in these parks have a pride of ownership, right? They own the home. So if you are in a well-run park, you will see people who have flowers and gardens and Christmas decorations or Hanukkah decorations, right? You'll see the outside of the homes looking nice and clean. You'll see people outside of their homes and a community inside of these mobile home parks, which is a lot different than apartments, which are very transitory, right? People who live in apartments, they move in, move out, they sign a lease, they have a moving truck and they're gone the next day. That pride of ownership, when you get a house into a park, it's actually very, very, very hard to move. And that's going to move me into number 6. And that again is the stability of the tenant. Once you have a well done house inside your mobile home park, and so you can actually bring in new mobile homes into your park, or you can have a tenant bring in a nice one, which I would highly recommend. You don't want to bring in old and beat up houses, is that there's a significant upfront cost for that. It's between $5,000 and $10,000. And most people living in mobile home parks just don't have that. So when they come into a park and they hook it up to the electrical and the plumbing and every other way that it needs to be set up, is that it's not very likely that they're going to be moving out soon. As a matter of fact, the turnover, once a mobile home goes into a park, the chance of it moving out is very, very, very slim. Most of the time when they come out, it's because the park owner is demolishing it or moving it out of the park because it does not meet the park standards. And so for me, I'm going to recommend, again, having really, really, really nice homes in your parks. Now, why do we find deals in this space? Well, this is different than wholesaling single family houses, because we make money on improving the management and the operations of a park. See, most parks are still run by mom and pop operators. Now, mom and pop operators, this means that these are, tends to be a older couple, and they call them mom and pop, right? Because it's, mom and pop, right? And they tend to do things in an amateur way, right? Not professionally. And so there are low rents. Maybe they became too close with the tenants and they were not willing to have that awkward conversation. Number 2, the rules aren't enforced. So maybe there's, animals running around, or maybe they don't have skirting on their mobile home, or maybe they have weeds, or their house is not clean. Or, 3 is that they just haven't improved the park in general, right? Maybe the sign is tired and they're not doing any marketing. And so because of this, you can purchase the property based on today's net income. So mobile home parks, this is what I love about them, is that the value of a mobile home park is based on the net income that park is shooting off every single month, the net income. So if you have a mom and pop and they've got low rents and they have high expenses and they're running this thing not professionally, you could come in and say, okay, I'm going to pay you XYZ for your park, and I'll give you full market value for your park today for what it is doing today, right? Not the future value, but for what is doing today. And you can even pay them a little bit of a premium above that and still kill it, right? I'm not going to give them the full value of what the park could be, because that's the meat on the bone, right? That's the meat on the bone that we need. So we're going to buy this property and we're going to enforce the rules. We're going to clean it up. We're going to make the place look great. We're going to bring in some new homes, and then we're going to raise the rents appropriately so that people have a great, clean, affordable place to live, but they're paying market rent. Again, still very, very, very affordable. Again, stay tuned at the end. I'm going to show you how we could partner on these deals. All right, so let's talk about how these parks are valued. So parks they're valued on cap rate. And cap rate means that if you were to pay cash for this property, that the cap rate would equal the percent return that you'd get on your money. So for example, if you paid $1 million for a property and it gives you $100,000 a year in net profit, that's a 10% cap rate. So I'll repeat that. Cap rate is just the return on your money that if you would pay cash, okay, that's the actual return cash on cash that you would get if you paid all cash, no loan. So 10% cap rate on $1 million would be 100 grand in profit. So let's get into the juicy part of this. Let's pretend that you bought a property and you buy it at a 7% cap rate, right? Which is a lower cap rate for a property, but there's 50 spaces inside this. And you go in there and you realize this thing is $100 and $150 per space, lower than market value. So you come in there and you say, okay, I'm going to get lease assigned. I'm going to clean out the trash. I'm going to get a new sign in front of this thing. I'm going to fix the sidewalk, make this place look great, get out the bad actors. And instead of raising this $150 a month, right, per pad, I'm just going to raise it 50. Okay, just going to raise it 50. And now the tenants see that I'm really putting some work into this property. I'm going to increase the pride of ownership. At that 7 cap, I'm going to increase the value of that property approximately $300,000. How did I come up with that? Well, I'm going to take 50 times 50. So that's going to be $2,500 in additional cash flow. So that's $30K a year. Now there's going to be some additional expenses associated with that if the manager is taking some of that, or maybe there's some, additional water or sewer that's not necessarily dedicated to the tenant, but some of the common areas or whatever that is, I'm going to take a little bit off the top to be fair there. But if I go at a 7 cap, that's going to be $300,000 in additional value. I have increased the value of this property almost immediately by that $50 increase. Now imagine the next year I'm going to raise it another 25, and the next year I'm going to raise it another 25, and the next year I'll raise it another 25 until it's at market value, but I can do that slowly, right? And over time with inflation, I can still continue to raise those rents 3% a year once at market. The beauty of this is that this park is going to continue to pay you cash month after month after month after month. You're going to decrease expenses. You're going to increase the cash flow. You're going to improve the management. And so that $300,000 might be another $100,000 the next year in value, another $100,000 the next year. And before you know it, you've increased the value of this park, $700,000, $800,000, $1 million. Now, the beauty of this is that you are giving people a clean and affordable place to live. And that's what I love about these parks, right? You could take something that was tired and make it new. You could take bad actors, get them out of there, and raise the rents to where they should be and have a great investment and help people at the same time. So here's how we can partner together on these deals. And I'll do more episodes, by the way. I would love to hear from you. So if you want to send an email to Brett, go to support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com for comments. But if you have a deal and you want to partner with me on the deal, or if you want to sell me a deal, right, get under contract and wholesale it to me, I will pay you a big fat assignment fee for a deal. So if you got a lead or property, email it to support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. I'm going to teach you how to find one. So step number 1, go to listsource.com, and you pick a geography that you want to look for parks. Number 2 is go under property type and then go under detailed property types and then search mobile home park. And then 3 is you pull that list. So select the geography and pull the list. And now you got a list of mobile home parks. Now you could include corporations in there. There's a place where you could say exclude corporations or include corporations. Your best leads are going to be from mom and pops. So I exclude corporations, not because I won't buy a mobile home park from a corporation, but you're just more likely to find a deal from a mom and pop. So you can include both. Just understand if you have a list of properties owned by a corporation or LLC, or those owned by Mary and Joe Smith, you're more likely to get a deal from Mary and Joe Smith. So I'd start with those. Okay, very important. Then I would skip trace those, and I've talked about how to get phone numbers here. If you want, you can go to batchskiptracing.com, and use the coupon code NOLIMITS, okay? No Limits, and they will actually take that list and give you the phone numbers of those people. So you can send them a postcard, or better yet, you start cold calling those people. Again, go to batchskiptracing.com, use coupon code No Limits, and they will give you a special price on getting those phone numbers of people who you could call. Now, if you get a lead of someone who wants to sell, or you've got a contract, simple thing to do, just email the lead, support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com, and I can either buy the deal from you or partner with you in some way. Either way, I'll pay you a big assignment fee, and that would be just so awesome to partner with one of my listeners. So support@nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com. Go out there, market, make it happen, increase your net worth, and I'll talk to you on the next episode of the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast.